Good evening.
Good evening. We're back again.
We're back again. And not just good evening to you, Paul, but it is a good evening to you. It's also good evening to our second guest who's going to join us for the entire podcast. It's Katie Knight from Knight Bites in Exeter. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Very well. Very well.
Oh, that was very in sync.
Oh, well.
This is episode 5 now. So got that down.
We're a slick, well-oiled machine now, aren't we, Chief? He just finishes my sentences. I don't know what to say. Yeah, thanks very much for joining us, Katie. It's great to have you on.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm just honoured to have been asked, really.
Oh, the honour is ours, isn't it, Chief?
It's all mine.
It's all yours. Take full responsibility for the honour. So yeah, this is number 5 in our series of podcasts. We're going to be chatting to you later in some more detail, Katie, about what it is you do, what you want to do, and what you don't want to do, and all sorts of things in between. But as we start off, I suppose, each week, what we try and do, if we can, is give a little plug to any local restaurants, chefs that have got something that they want to say or put out there. This week takes us down to Topsham. Do you ever spend much time in Topsham, Katie?
I actually run there quite a lot.
You run there?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good little route. It's quite flat, so yeah.
Yeah,
I like Topsham.
Topsham's lovely, and you're familiar with Topsham, aren't you, Chief?
I love Topsham.
It is. It's a really nice part of Exeter, actually. Quaint, yeah, charming in its own little way. And it takes us to the Lord Nelson pub, but in particular, the Goose and Gander kitchen at the Lord Nelson. Are you familiar with that at all, Katie?
No.
No. It is, well, it's a bit of a strange one in a way because chef there, Charlie, who I worked, I'd say for very briefly, he used to be at the 7 Stars in Kemford. Him and his partner, Carly, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Charlie and Carly, are the chef duo that have taken over the lease. They took over in July of the kitchen at the Lord Nelson pub, and it's called the Goose and Gander Kitchen. And it's a pretty unique blend, really. It says in the email that he sent over to me to best describe their style of food, it's world street food with a sort of fine dining twist. So it's a mixture of popular street food dishes along with some more well-known substantial pub dishes, which to me sounds very appealing. I don't know about you, Chief. You're a man of the world.
Amazing.
You've travelled.
I don't know about that.
You've travelled.
That sounds very good. Yeah, I'll have to try that out when it opens.
Yeah, world street food with a mixture, I say, of more familiar dishes, and it's all very, very local. And I just kind of want to set the scene, really. So if you can imagine the period we've been in lockdown, it's been pretty downbeat. Everyone's been looking forward to getting out and seeing friends again. I'm just setting the scene. I'm painting a picture with words.
It's like J.K. Rowling's here.
But it's that first day when you're allowed back out. The sun is shining. You're out with a couple of friends, or in your case, Paul, probably your parents. And you're sat out and you've got the barbecue going. You've got a spit roast oven. You've got things like longhorn beef brisket in Guinness with caramelized onions and Monterey Jack cheese placed in front of you. You've got a beer. There's some live music going. Everybody's happy. That's just a little taste of the things that you can get at the Goose and Gander kitchen.
You've sold me.
Come March. And obviously then they'll be opening up fully in May when everyone's allowed. But yeah, plenty of outdoor space. There's going to be heated marquees, live music, cocktails, barbecues, you name it. And let's say, having cooked alongside Charlie and sort of sampling his food in his previous job, I think it's going to be one to watch. Remember when we put a little thing up right at the beginning about the 5 restaurants we wanted to go and visit when things reopen? This was, without disrespect, this was probably number 6. But that's a bit of a strange number to say. What are your top 6 restaurants? But you know, Goose and Gander Kitchen in Topsham, Charlie and Carly smashing it up. They've been keeping themselves busy. I've got here through the lockdown throughout February. They were doing fish platters on a Friday night. You a fan of fish, Katie? You eat seafood?
I'm a vegan, but my partner is obsessed with fish. So yeah,
she's obsessed with fish. So
yeah, she is. Yeah.
If you were to say to her, "Listen, let's come down Topsham. I'll get you a fish platter. We're talking crispy squid, crispy cuttlefish, popcorn prawns, curried hake goujons, white bait, seasonal coleslaw."
Absolutely.
She'll be down there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I'll just be watching.
Just be watching, hating her. Stop eating. So yeah, and then throughout March, and they're going to carry on throughout the rest of March. They've been doing takeaway Sunday roast, so you can go down there and get a little taster of sort of what's to come. Really, they've had things like char grilled pork, confit chicken, longhorn Devon steaks, roasted venison haunch, bits and pieces for vegetarians like a delicious sounding root vegetable blue cheese phyllo parcel. That sounds pretty good for a vegetarian. I'm sure they do vegan food as well. Yeah, but too good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's vegan alternatives. You know, if you didn't want to just go down and watch your partner eat while you're on the other side of the road or something like that. But yeah, that is our little restaurant push for this week. And
I think that was one of the longest plugs you've ever done.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair to Charlie, he sent me a really sort of in-depth email
I read it.
as to what it is they do. I tried to get
I
it
cleared
all
my
in.
diary for 2 days to read that.
I know. I tried to get it all in as concise as possible. Perhaps I failed from that point of view, but in order for giving the restaurant a push, I did a pretty bloody good job. And they reopen on the 13th of April.
Fantastic.
So from there on in, you can go out and enjoy all of the things that I've just mentioned.
Fantastic.
So there we go. Goose and Gander Kitchen.
Done. So last week we were back on Instagram. And we put out a little thing, questions that we would like to answer on the podcast. Katie got involved. One of her questions is being answered
I did.
tonight. Yeah. Can you remember what your question was?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. No, I asked, do you prefer working individually or in a team?
Yeah.
Something
Do you want
along
to take
those
that one
lines.
first? That was exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want to take it? Or
Do you want to take that one?
Well, yeah. I mean, I answered it, I think, online. And when you've got a group of people around you, like I said, who all have a real sort of clear passion for what it is you're trying to achieve, and they want to come in and give their best every day, there's nothing really better than being part of a team. I mean, Paul and I have worked in smaller teams and slightly larger teams, and it's a good feeling when you know you've got a busy service ahead, or you're in the middle of a very busy service, and you can sort of look across and you can see your colleagues and the way in which they're just mucking in and they're getting on with the job. You feel confident. You know, you almost get that little boost from everybody else around you. You think, I'm part of a good team here. So even if I start to really get in the weeds, someone's going to come and help me out. So it's definitely part of a team. Working on your own's got some, it's got some nice parts. There's nobody to fall out with, but
yeah,
that's about it. What about you, Chief?
Yeah, I suppose once you're sort of the head chef level and you look back onto your team during service and they're all getting on and everything's running smoothly, it's great. Just takes that one person, though, doesn't it, to fuck you up and you're
the one bad
angry.
apple. The one bad apple.
Turn on that sixpence. I've worked on my own a few times. I mean, it's okay. There's nothing really to sing about. It's nice to sort of have a team there.
Yeah.
You'll look after each other.
Yeah. Do you work as part of a team, Katie, or are you more of a...
Well, I actually worked in the kitchen at Boston Tea Party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was one of the line chefs there for a couple of years. Well, I was a line chef for a year and then front of house for a year. So I've worked in a team. Now obviously I work alone. It's literally just me who does the whole business, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, no, I love being part of the team. I miss them all so much. They were literally my family. So
yeah, that is a phrase that you hear a lot.
One advantage to working on your own, though, is you can listen to whatever music you like.
So true. I used to, when I was on open, I used to like hog the speaker or the radio all day so that I'd listen to my music. Yeah.
Or a chef that we used to work with, just put your headphones in.
He would do that, wouldn't he? He'd be in the kitchen with you and I, and he would just put his headphones in.
We'd beat him up.
We would just talk about him, and he wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, we would have no idea.
Look at that wanker.
That's probably what he probably had one of those little audio cassette things in his head to try and control your temper, and he was just looking at us two, and in his mind he was saying, "Just relax and breathe."
Sounds of the waves.
Possibly,
Whale song,
whale song, just to calm him down. But no, I think we're all in agreement that being part of a team, I don't think there's a better feeling, really. Sort of knowing that you belong to a bit of a collective and everyone's rowing in the same direction. And that's what you've got to sort out, isn't it, Chief? When you open your new place. Yeah. You've got to get the team. Have you met other members of the team yet?
I know them. Yeah. Well, I know of them. I've never worked with them.
No.
In the kitchen, but
yes.
It's all exciting stuff, isn't it?
And you're going to be thrown in at the deep end together because you've got how many covers for your first day?
Well, I don't want to spoil the vlog, but we've got 300 booked on our first day.
Just to give you a point of reference, I won't do 300 covers in a week.
No.
Lunch and dinner over
or a month.
Well, I'll do it in a month, but
Wow.
That's the first day. Plus walk-ins as well. So
yeah. So that's
depending on the weather, you could add another 100 onto that.
Yeah. Would you say you're baking for 300 people a week, Katie?
No, definitely not. But I do make around 160 odd brownies a day, like minimum kind of thing. So it's pretty big numbers in terms of actual baking.
How many days a week?
I bake 6 days a week.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're knocking on for 800 brownies a week.
Yeah, it's pretty insane at the moment, but it's still in it, obviously growing period, like massively growing. So work hard, you get results.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I made a tray bake of brownies the other day at work, and I had to cut them into portions. I think I got 28 portions out of it, and that felt like a ball ache. So to do 800, I'd take my hat off to if I had one.
So the second question this week came in from Jim Lampard, and he wanted to know what our hero ingredient was.
Go on, Chief, you fire away.
I've thought about this a lot, actually, but I'm going to have to say, because I'm a fat bastard, butter.
Butter. Got to be butter.
That's it. The kitchen god, butter. It's just so versatile, isn't it? And it adds the flavour, and it's in everything.
It's in everything that you make. I've seen you stir it in your tea before.
I've done it. Yeah, love butter. Base steaks and stuff with butter, and obviously cakes and brownies.
I think it's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things that a lot of people who see, chefs on TV when they're cooking and they're putting butter in the pan, to baste meat and fish and vegetables as well. People get scared. They go, "Oh God, that's got to be so bad for you because of all the butter you're putting in there." But you're not eating that butter. You're using it to flavour and to cook. You're not actually going to tip all that onto the plate and just spoon it up like some kind of soup de bourgeoisie or something like that. But no. So you must shift through quite a bit of butter in your daily routines there, Katie.
Yeah, I go through about close to 4 kilograms of butter a day. Yeah, so yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of butter.
That's nothing.
That's nothing. Oh God, 4 kilos. And can I ask, what do you do for the vegan alternatives? Do you have a vegan butter, or do you use?
Yeah, I use Vitalite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then use a different How
does that compare flavour-wise?
Flavour-wise, I mean, it's got a lot more moisture in it, so it releases more moisture. So I just kind of balance out with putting more flour in, because obviously a traditional brownie is mainly like your eggs and your sugar kind of thing, and good quality chocolate. That's what you need in a good brownie. So I just kind of balance out with a bit more flour, and then kind of accounts for that. But yeah, I use Vitalite, and then I use a Chia Egg, actually, which I think it's quite rare. I've never seen another vegan brownie that uses Chia Eggs, but they seem to work really well and everyone loves them. So
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. So it's just chia seeds that you then soak in water, and they literally, it's a bit like a flax egg. I don't know if you've known that for a vegan alternative. Yeah, so it's a bit like a flax egg, but using chia seeds instead.
Right.
And it forms like a paste, and it's just different kind of egg replacement.
Aquafaba.
Yeah, aquafaba. Yeah, that's chickpea water.
Yeah.
Good for meringues.
Great for meringues.
Yeah.
You told me that.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good for meringues.
So what would your hero ingredient be then, Katie? It doesn't have to be something that you use a lot in the professional brand, but it can just be, or something that you just really love to use or can't get enough of.
I love using like actual seeds, like coriander seeds, mustard seeds, caraway seeds. I'm a little bit obsessed with those at the moment.
I think a caraway seed is well underused in my opinion.
Yeah, and fennel seeds as well.
That's my absolute favourite seed. Is
Yeah.
seed. I'll stick it in anything.
So yeah, seeds.
Seeds of any description.
Of any, I just love them.
Yeah. You can often see Katie just strolling up and down the quay and exit, just
holding them,
flinging handfuls of seeds to the pigeons,
bags of
just
seeds
throwing them at strangers.
And what is your hero ingredient, Chief?
Well, I was trying to think, like you say, about something different or quirky, but just I think one of the things that I love to eat, and if it's on a menu in any way, shape, or form, will gravitate to it. It's duck. I just love duck. Duck. I think it's just it's a hugely versatile meat. It's so flavoursome. You know, the legs are beautiful when they're slow roasted or confit traditionally. In the French school of cooking, duck breast itself, lovely sort of light gamey flavour. Pairs well with so many different things. You know, you can go fruity, you can go spicy, you can, you know, add heat to it. I just think it's just such a wonderful thing to cook with. And
as long as that fat's rendered down.
As long as the fat is rendered down, you're quite right, because it goes lovely and crispy.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a soggy duck skin.
No, you don't want that. If you can't cook duck skin properly, just take it off.
Yeah,
because it'll detract from the pleasure of eating at the end of the day if the skin's a bit on the flabby side. But yeah, I used to remember picking them up from the supermarkets when I was working out in France, and you get the big, what they call magrets, the magret de canard, and the breasts are just. I'm trying to do a scope on the screen here, but it doesn't do it justice. They are just huge. So, you know, one of those would easily feed 2 people. But yeah, I just love it. It's delicious.
Fantastic.
That's it. Good set of questions there, actually.
Good
set.
So yeah, if you have got a question, you can Instagram us at preppkitchenpod or email us at preppkitchenpod@gmail.com. I always forget that one.
I know. You're the man for the plug of our own podcast. I don't do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, self-plug yourself.
No.
He does.
And I get it wrong all the time.
You do. It's because there's so many preps and pods, and
there's too many peas.
Yeah, too many peas in this particular pod. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right.
Yeah. Very good. Boom, boom. Right. So, Katie, this is the part of the show I suppose you've been looking forward to the most, because this is all about you. This is why you're here. You're here to tell us, and everyone that's listening, hopefully, what it is you do, how you got started. So just give us a little bit of background on sort of where you are now, what it is you do on a daily basis. And
well, I'm a Night Bites, which is a tiny little baking business that I set up I established it last June and then launched in August. It was after kind of months of lockdown and realizing that I just love to bake, and then I got told that I should start selling my bakes as kind of a joke, really. And then I was like, why not, actually? And then made sure I had all the legal stuff sorted, and then I just kind of started baking brownies. And it's kind of gone from there, really. It's exploded.
That's how this podcast started.
As a joke.
Joke.
The best things do. The best stories.
And it still is a joke.
So now I've kind of expanded slightly. I'm doing more cakes now as well. But yeah, I do postal brownies in different flavors, and yeah, that's me.
That's you.
Fantastic. Where would you say your sort of passion for cookery comes from?
Well, sounds so cliche, but I was always in the kitchen as a kid, and I just love the feeling of someone enjoying what I've cooked. Yeah. I love to host. I love making big meals for people. I always have done. Then going to university and being the one who hosted at university was always a big deal for me. So yeah, I think I just love that feeling of just someone else enjoying what I've made.
I think that's the essence of cooking, isn't it? I mean, people often they obviously do all these things, wonderful things at wonderful places, but the essence of it, you know, at its core is to be welcoming, it's to be homely, it's to nourish people, it's food's what brings people together. Like you said, as cliche and corny as things like that sound, it is, you know, it used to be, you know, the part of the week you would all one day on a Sunday, the family get together and you break bread. And I think it's important that you try as much as you can to hold on to those sentiments and put that into what it is you do.
Yeah,
hence
definitely.
why you're making generous, delicious chocolatey treats and things like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Is there a plan for you going forward? Have you got any sort of ideas on where you think things might be once normal life resumes?
Well, I've got a few plans. I ideally in the future, the goal is to have my own little bakery, just a place where people can come and be themselves and eat the food I make. But like, yeah, that kind of safe space. But I don't know. I don't know whether to kind of put Night Spice on hold going into the next year and then try and find more of a job where I can learn more culinary stuff, because I did work in the kitchen at a cafe, but I didn't really learn a lot in terms of like fine dining kind of stuff, and that's just to really get like a good bedrock like under my skills. That would be quite cool, but also very aware that it's very difficult to get a job at the moment, so more than happy to just continue doing what I'm doing at the moment, really. So I've got a few ideas, but we'll just kind of see where it goes.
Fantastic.
Well,
I think that's important. We'll come on to a book for younger chefs to come on to a bit later in your favourite section.
My
But
favourite.
it's nice to hear a chef wanting to learn more from a different area. I think you can either get stuck where you are in what you're doing, or a lot of chefs I've seen, not recently, but before this all started, just wanting to go in a bit too high. You know what I mean? And I can't give you an example because none are coming to mind right now, obviously. But yeah, trying to go into a higher level than what they are.
Yeah, like I'm very aware that I have not come from, didn't go to culinary school. I'm very aware of that, and so I'm just really passionate about flavors and food, and so I'd love to learn. If culinary school was free, I'd be knocking on its doors, but yeah.
But it's not an essential thing, is it?
No.
Exactly.
I was in exactly the same boat as what Katie was a few years back. I just wanted to get into cookery as a job, as a career, and I was a little bit older than what you are now, I'm guessing. I was 26 when I started cooking properly as a career, and I'm guessing, without going into too much detail, you might be a few years off 26 at this point in time.
21.
21. There we go. So if you can use me as anything, it's an example that there's plenty of time still. But it's such an important thing that you say, and you're absolutely right. You've got to get a decent grasp on the basics before you start, jumping into anything too serious. Having a good grounding, and like Paul will definitely agree with me. You see many chefs who've got huge gaps in the repertoire. You know what I mean? They're more than happy to put spherified cucumber balls and swipes of gel and dehydrated this, that, or the other, but they can't make short crust pastry. So you don't want to be one of those cooks who can look all flash and pretty, but when it comes down to the crunch, you don't know how to fillet a mackerel or something very basic like that. But I urge you to keep going with it, and if there's anything I can do to help you out along the way, and I'm pretty sure Paul will be the same, with any advice and help to get you started, all you got to do is ask.
Thank you.
I've been there.
I have a little admission to make. I have a slight obsession with your Instagram page.
Mine?
Yeah. Your brownies look amazing.
Thanks.
What is your favourite one?
I see. I actually planned for this question. So I've got two, really. I make a sticky toffee pudding one, which I love dates, I love molasses, and I love the flavors of the Middle East, and dates feature so much there. But yeah, I think that one, just because it makes my whole kitchen just smell incredible. But I was really, really proud of one of my February specials, and it was a cherry bakewell brownie. I basically made it look like a cherry bakewell, but taste like a brownie, but also taste like a cherry bakewell. It was, I was so proud of it. So it had like marzipan, and it had like flaked almonds, and it was from, I was just really proud of it. So that one, I think. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You can see by how excited you get by answering the question, by like how much you love what you do, and that's so infectious.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, and that sounds delicious, by the way. A sticky
I
toffee
do need
brownie.
to try some of these brownies.
I was going to be really cheeky and send a message before we came on and be like, "Well, you're going to have to send us out some brownies."
Oh, I'm more than happy to send you guys some. Absolutely.
We will pay for them, because I know that some bits and pieces that
You will pay.
I will pay for them.
I will eat.
You will eat. I'll pay, because there is some bits you do for. You've been involved with a few charities as well. I've seen recently, so stuff you're trying to sell is going to help people out as well, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I do, it's a big part of the business that I know, so I really want to keep going forward as well. So, yeah.
Can you dispel what charities you've been closely working with?
Yeah, I mainly fundraise for Shelter, which are a homeless charity, because it's something I feel incredibly strongly about, and I get really not passionate, it's the wrong word, but like upset, and when I walk through Exeter and I see and how bad it's got over the last 4 years that I've lived here. So Shelter, and then I've worked with a couple others. So St Petrox, which is again another homeless charity, and then Beat, which is a charity which fundraise for eating disorders, and then I Calm Zone, which is another mental health charity. So quite a few, but mainly Shelter.
Fantastic.
I think it's great if you can help out charities that you feel strongly about at the same time doing something you enjoy. I mean, I've always, like, you hear people say like, "Oh, I'm doing this for charity, that for charity," and it's and they're able to think of incorporating their own passions into helping other charities out. I've not been able to do that. I've thought of doing stuff for charity before, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to run. I don't want to run. I couldn't do that. I don't even think I could do a marathon to raise money for my own family. I don't think I could even manage that. So for other people I'd be stuffed, but no, I think that's really good. I'm thinking there's more fundraising stuff on the way as well.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, well, like I said before, just let us know, and we'll put the word out there, won't we, Chief?
We certainly will.
We certainly will. Absolutely.
So
go on, far away.
I suppose the last big thing is, what do you want to achieve once this is over? COVID, pandemics. I think you've sort of answered it, but I'll ask.
Yeah, mainly just a bakery. Really, there's an old pub right next to where I live, and I just love to lease it and just turn it into my own space. But obviously, that's so unrealistic. But I just love a space where people can come in and just be themselves, and like if there's than just, I'm speaking good words here, like come in and try my food, but it's also a space where you can like socialize, and like there's just no like stigma attached or anything. Like, you can just come in and be completely yourself, and it's safe and a haven. And I'd quite like as well, this is quite different, but I'd quite like to my brother's autistic, so I'd really love a space where autistic children could come in and experience a sensory experience through baking. That would mean a lot for me if I could do something like that, and if I was able to do something like that, because I think baking is a fantastic way of bringing people together. So they're my two things.
Yeah, amazing.
That sounds incredible.
I wish I had your drive when I was 21.
I wish I could make brownies at 21.
Yeah, I was just some troll behind a stove somewhere at 21. But
what's changed, Chief? Apart from the fact you got older. That's about the only difference.
Older. I get to write the menus now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was actually sort of, it's quite interesting, but it was actually baking, and I'm by no means a fantastic baker at all, but it was baking that first got me into food properly, probably when I was about your age, I suppose. I remember it was vividly Mother's Day, and Dad said to me, "I'm going to cook Mother's Day lunch for you, Mum." which I was thankful for because I didn't want him to cook for anyone else's mum on Mother's Day. And then he said, and you're going to make pudding. Why don't you bake her a cake? She likes cakes. And I was like, yeah, I'll bake her a cake. And I thought to myself, I ain't got a bloody clue how to bake a cake. And I was like, how can it be? Like, why do I not know how to bake a cake? I'm 21 years of age. Surely everyone's Anyway, I muddled my way through a Victoria sponge. It actually turned out quite good by some miracle. It turned out quite nice. And then sort of having eaten it, I was just like, wow. Like a couple of hours ago, I just had some eggs and a bit of flour and some butter. And now I've got this thing that's actually quite delicious and surprisingly edible. And from there, I was then like, oh, what other stuff can I make? And then I think for Mum's birthday, I made a key lime pie or something like that. And then I just kept trying stuff out. And there was a huge amount of failures, obviously, in between. Which I think
Yeah.
And you know, you must have experienced this as well when you're trialing out recipes. There's an awful lot of failure that has to take place before you get to the point where you're happy, especially with you when you're selling your goods.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you just gotta
definitely.
try it, and you just got to stick your neck on the line and go for it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But cakes,
And not get annoyed at failures as well.
that's
Like,
the trick.
it's part of the
Right,
part of the journey.
Failure is the best teacher, isn't it, as they say?
Yeah.
You need to work at stuff, don't you?
Of course you do.
Mm.
I know we've worked with a chef that would come up
Mm.
with a menu idea, and the next day it'd be on the menu, and
There's no trial
disaster.
process.
You know, we're looking at sort of 6 months before you're putting on something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we would at least trial things out. You know, it's not like we're in the position where we've got a development kitchen and chefs that are set aside to develop dishes for us while we're taking care of business. We got to find time in the day, didn't we, to develop bits and pieces. So it'd be,
Yeah.
you know, I've got a quiet Monday. I'll order in an extra few bits and pieces, and we'll have a little run through what it is we want to try and achieve. But yeah, failure is necessary, and it's also exposing yourself to failure. You've got to put yourself in deep waters sometimes, haven't you? You can't just,
Yeah.
and I'm guilty of it, and I'm sure Paul is as well. There's things that you're not that confident about in cookery, and you shy away from doing them. I'm sure you do that, don't you, Chief? It's not just me.
Oh, yeah, always, yeah.
Yeah, you sort of be reserved and go, oh, I've never been very good at
Pastry, usually.
yeah, I've never been very good at X, Y, Z, so I won't do it. And that's not the best way to develop, is it? That's not the best way to learn.
No. I think you've just got to chuck yourself in there sometimes,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything on your radar, Katie, that you want to sort of give a try to, and you've been reluctant or hesitant thus far, or you're obviously braver than Paul and I, and you go straight for it?
No, definitely. Like, I don't know anything really about meat or fish. So that I would like, I am a vegan, but I would love to learn the art of it because it is an art. So yeah, but it scares me because I literally don't know what I'm doing. So yeah.
Have you ever eaten meat and fish?
Yeah, but I stopped eating meat when I was 19, so I hadn't really cooked that. I'd cooked about chicken breast, and that was about it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so I haven't really done anything. And I, watch all the like, MasterChef and cooking shows, and I'm like, oh, just it's so cool what they do. So yeah.
But there is definitely an art to it. I suppose you'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Chief? There's definitely an art to it.
An art to cooking.
To cooking meat and cooking fish properly. I mean, there's an art to cooking anything, but
Yeah.
I think what Katie's alluding to is how it is that centerpiece of the dish. When you just see a lovely glistening piece of fish or beautifully cooked all the way through, loin of lamb or something like that.
It's just those extra seconds, isn't it? Either side, and yeah. That's why I enjoy cooking them, being on the meat and fish section.
Yeah,
you're up against it.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's quite often how Paul and I used to, when we worked together. More often than not, you were on the stove on meat and fish. I don't know why I say that like a northerner, but there was Paul on meat and fish, and I was cooking veg. But that's how it was, wasn't it? But that's sort of that was what Paul was better at than me, and was what Paul enjoyed, and I was more than happy just to. I say stand around and watch him cook. I was busy doing things as well, but you sort of play to each other's strengths, don't you? And I pranced around on the pastry.
There was a lot of prancing.
There was a lot of prancing around, but I'm an energetic guy.
It's fun. I like pastry because it's a bit calmer.
Yeah. I said that a couple of weeks back, didn't I, Paul? When you've almost got like you almost seemingly, if you're organised, you've got more time
Yeah.
to just work at your own pace. Do you do much pastry work yourself in terms of what you would consider general patisserie, or is it mainly?
Not really. I did all the cakes and stuff at Boston. That was kind of my role, mainly. So I guess that, but not really. I haven't really had an experience. I'd love to get an actual experience in a proper kitchen. It'd be really cool just to see what it's like.
It is good. It's good.
Yeah,
It can be.
yeah.
It can be.
I absolutely loved working in the kitchen at Boston, so it'd be really fun to see. And that's only just a daytime cafe, so I'd love to work in a restaurant and see what it's like.
Well,
It is good fun.
If you've got that passion to do it, and you're determined to do it, then I've got absolutely no doubts that that's exactly where you'll end up. Because people, I think Paul and I might have spoken before, either on the podcast or just in real life, so to speak. You will always take someone with less skill but more enthusiasm 9 times out of 10 than someone who thinks they know it all and they've got a bit of experience and they're just coasting through it as a job. They don't see it so much as a career or a passion. It's a job. You when someone comes in and they've got like a real buzz about what they're doing and they just want to learn each and every day and soak up as much as they can, those are the people that you have more pleasure working with and sort of teaching in a way, because you've got their attention.
Yeah, and you can see a development then as well.
It is.
Yeah,
you can see them develop as a chef, and before you know it, they're after your job and
that's it.
Destitute.
Yeah. And then you're on the outside looking in through the window. Oh, you used to cook in there.
Yeah, this is mine.
I'm going to ask you one final question. I did put it up on here, but I can't remember the password on my phone. We'll cut that bit out. I was going to ask you one final question because I said I sorry, I can just hear my fiance mocking me from another room, so we'll have to cut that out as well. I was going to ask you one final question about what do you think is required and how would you go about making the perfect brownie?
Oh, okay. It's so important to have good quality chocolate. That I think is really important. I don't use cocoa powder at all in them, and a lot of brownie recipes that you find will incorporate cocoa powder, and I think no. So good quality chocolate, and then I think to get a good, the crackle on top, to get that whip the sugar and eggs quite a bit together, put all that air into it, and then they're my 2 main things. I've been asked that question before. And salt. Don't shy away from salt. Chocolate loves salt.
Fantastic.
Chocolate
Could you
salt.
give our listeners a peek behind the curtain of what chocolate you use, or is it a trade secret?
I mean, I use Cabo. I don't know if that's how you say it. I think that's how you say it.
Close enough for what we do.
Yeah.
Is it the 70%? Do you go for a bitter dark chocolate or somewhere in the middle?
I have a combo. I use 54.5 and then 70.5. I do both. Yeah.
See, that's
I like that 75.
Mm.
That's good.
I must admit, I made brownies at work, and I use my fiance Harriet's recipe because she's a very good baker. And she uses 70% cocoa. It's gluten-free. It's just ground almonds in there to replace the flour. And she did say to whisk up the sugar and the eggs for quite a long time, so really, really, really thick and creamy.
Yeah, definitely.
But she does use cocoa powder, so I will tell her on the authority of a professional who sells her product that cocoa powder is a no-no. She's wrong.
Well, it depends what type of cocoa powder you're using as well, I think.
This was I can't remember what it's called now. It came in a very posh sealed bag and it looked very ethically sourced.
That is quite, that's fancy cocoa powder.
It wasn't just one from a supermarket.
£75 a bag.
Well, I didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for it, but
Was that Chris from Dartfresh selling you that again?
It wasn't Chris from Dartfresh. Actually, no, it was Chris from Dartfresh. Yeah, I did get it from Dartfresh. I thought
of course. He sent me it the other day as well.
Oh, did he? The big bag. It's good stuff, actually.
The big bag of it.
It's good stuff. So that's the secret to the brownie.
Fantastic.
No cocoa, 2 different types of chocolate. Salt. Chocolate loves salt. and a
Good
little bit
quality
of
chocolate.
good quality chocolate, and a little bit of skill. You know, you've got to take some of the credit.
You just got to listen to it and know when it's done. Don't overbake it.
Don't overbake it. Do you go for a very sort of fudgy brownie or?
Yeah, fudgy,
Mm.
gooey fudgy rather than cakey.
Do you serve it warm?
I've actually never had one.
I suppose that makes sense, being a vegan and all.
So yeah. But I know people do. My girlfriend likes to eat them from the fridge, which is weird. But one of her housemates eats them in the microwave. So isn't it? Yeah.
Eats them in the How big's your microwave?
Yeah, it gets in it.
It just gets in
Puts
there.
up a little tent.
Yeah, starts chewing on some brownies. Well, what you'll have to do is send Paul some, and he'll tell you how good they are.
Yeah, you can tell me the best way of eating a brownie.
The best way to eat them. I don't know if you've got any more questions to add there, Chief.
I don't think so. I think we've covered everything brownie related.
Everything brownie related, yeah.
So it's time for your favourite section. It's the cookbook review.
It's called Paul's book review.
Paul's book review.
So Ed can put some sound effects. Let's do that again. Yeah. Go on, give it some Paul's book review.
It's time for Paul's book review. So I knew that we had someone who wants to go into the catering industry. So I've gone to the deepest depths of my cookbook shelf, and I pulled this out. Which looks like a really crappy old book. But this is my copy of Escoffier, A Guide to Modern Cookery.
Oh, wow.
You can't see it because the light's on it. I was given this many, many years ago. And every chef should have this. This is a bit of a chefy book review this week. Have you got one?
Me?
No.
Yeah.
I actually don't have one, no.
Oh, God.
As soon as you said every chef should have one, I was thinking he's going to ask me if I've got one. Now I bloody know he is.
And I knew you didn't have one.
I knew you.
I knew you didn't.
I knew it.
So, like you were saying earlier, chefs go straight in with the gels and things. This book is just packed full of everything you will need to know about cookery. How to prep dishes, menu ideas. There's some menus in the back. This one's falling apart now, but it's not one that you'd go to as you go on in your career for menu ideas, because this was come out in, I don't even know what year this came out.
Oh, that's probably one of the second or third editions, that isn't it? Because it would have all been in. It was all in French when first published, was it not?
This was first published in 1907.
Yeah,
and then this one came out in 1959.
Yeah. So when it says the Guide to Modern Cookery, it's obviously modern of its time.
Yeah. However, still useful.
Hugely.
Because it will tell you how to prep stuff down and cook stuff. Some of the dishes in here are a bit... So I haven't picked any out this week, but they're all in French. I don't know if you can see it.
Studied French at university.
Oh, fantastic.
So good.
This should be easy.
All the dishes are in French. Obviously, the techniques are in English, but... Yeah. So, Katie, for your going into the catering industry, I suggest you buy this one.
Get that book.
Junior chefs watching or listening, buy yourself a copy of Escoffier's Guide to Modern Cookery. And if you've been in the industry for 7 years, like some people who will go unnamed, 8 years, buy yourself a copy of Escoffier.
I do have a similar kind of book downstairs, but it's not Le Guide Culinaire from Escoffier. Are you familiar with Escoffier at all, Katie? No. There's a great little documentary which Michel Roux Jr. made on BBC Two a few years ago now, but you can find it on YouTube, and it's all to do with Escoffier, and basically it's to do with his life, his career, his work, but how he left such a huge, an indelible mark on cookery. You know, the brigade system, which chefs, you hear Paul talk about earlier on, like junior sous chefs, chef de partie, things like that. That's one of the things that he imparted onto kitchens that are still used today. It's that brigade system. It's that way of working, you know, where the garnish is in time with the fish and the meat and the sauce, and it all comes up to the pass at the same time. It's all to do with, you know, getting kitchens to communicate. But he was a really interesting guy. And if you can get hold of that documentary on YouTube, I would suggest just type in Michel Roux Jr.
You'll get a
Michel
Jew.
Michel Jew's going to bring you something totally different, I'd imagine. Michel Roux Jr. Escoffier.
Yeah.
And he does reiterate even further like the importance of that book. But it's definitely worth a watch, and I think that's a stellar choice for this week, Chief.
Yeah. We were on about a few years ago going to France. If we ever go to France, I would like to go to a bookshop and see if I can get a French copy of this.
Yeah.
I can't read French very well, but I think it'd be a bit of culinary history. That I would like to get.
It is. I mean, there's if you look through that book and things of that age show you how much eating fashions have changed. You know, there's ingredients in there which would have been commonplace on French tables and even on British tables, you know, decades or a century ago, and they're just not seen anymore. They're just not heard of. And food it is a cyclical thing. So, you know, it might be worth keeping hold of a book like that, because in 25, 30 years' time, some of the dishes may come back round into fashion again, and you've got that book as a reference point, and it goes into great detail of telling you how to prepare and make the best of certain ingredients. And it's great for the cheaper cuts, which we spoke about a few weeks back as well. It'd be great for that sort of
And if I ever do get onto MasterChef The Professionals, I will do everything from this.
Every
little modern.
Monica and Marcus looking over you.
They would love it.
They would love it. If you went on there and started doing the most, you know, classical French dishes.
Poulet sauté Gabrielle.
Well, the Gabrielle's the sauce, is it not?
It's sauté chicken in butter without coloration and dish it. Swill the 1/8 pint of mushroom cooking liquor.
1/8.
Add 3 tablespoonfuls of bechamel sauce and 3 tablespoons of cream. Reduce and finish the sauce away from the fire with 1.5 ounces of butter. Pour the sauce over the chicken. Sprinkle it some very black truffle, cut julienne fashion, and surround it with little leaves of puff paste, baked white.
Baked white. There you go. So, but what we were talking about, and we mentioned this so many times.
You can get modern versions of this, by the way.
Even that little recipe there for that very old dish, which I don't think you could go anywhere. You would probably struggle to find it on a menu in France, that particular dish. But in terms of the flavor combinations that are used and certain methods and techniques, that's a dish you could easily modernize. That's why you look through old cookbooks. I've heard it said before from chefs, before you look at going forward with food, you've got to look back to see what went before. You know what I mean? So look at what went before, how things were done. You know, how can I modernize or reinvent? It's very difficult to invent anything completely new these days, certainly in terms of, you know, techniques are new, because, you know, technology and the way in which we prepare and look at food is always changing. But yeah, those books are so useful. Let's get hold of one for a Chief. Why don't you hunt one down?
I'll try.
Exchange
I'll
it
swap
for a
you
pack
on for
of
some brownies.
Yeah. Done.
I'll see what I can do.
That is it. Just out of curiosity, Chief, how long have you had that book for?
This one.
Yeah.
9-10 years.
9-10 years.
This was one of the first ones I got.
And you probably
I was gifted it by a very old head chef, but he wasn't old, but one of my old head chefs.
Yeah. It's a nice thing.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing.
It's a nice little touch. I'll have to find my French book downstairs and bring it on for next week.
Oh, you can take over the.
No, I'm not going to do a book review. No, we can just stroll through some old recipes and talk about updating them. Now, I hope you two have, you know, been exercising your brains a bit today, and they're not completely fatigued, but they're strong and they're ready, because this is Challenge Chief. You both ready?
Yeah. Okay,
so last week, Paul just held on to his title with a draw, because he's on home turf. A draw is good enough for him. Okay, you have to beat him outright in order to take the Challenge Chief title. So Paul tied with Jay from Artistan Pizza last week on Italian food.
Almost didn't, but
almost didn't. But that was due to a technical hiccup By technical hiccup, I mean my inability to read plain English. So I thought with you being in the house and being a baker and aspiring pastry chef, this is a quiz all about baking. So it's a mixture of sort of home baking, classical French patisserie, and a couple of silly questions thrown in there for good measure.
Cool.
So I'm going to go through the questions one at a time. When you think you know the answer, just, make a note of it or write it down, whatever you want to do. Don't worry if you haven't got a pen and paper, because she's prepared.
She's prepared.
She's prepared.
I'm ready.
She's ready to go. And then at the end, we'll go through them again and we'll see who the winner is. This is going to be tight, I think. This is going to be close.
Just so everyone aware is at home. Everyone at home is aware. I'm not cheating. I'm typing out the answers.
He said that last week and still didn't win, so I believe him. Okie dokie. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had a hiccup. Okay. Question 1. I'm sure you're both familiar with crème pâtissière or crème patisserie, the classic pastry cream. But what name is given to it in French when you add whipped cream to the mix?
Where do you find this shit?
So crème pâtissière with some whipped cream added in French is called what? That's question 1. Katie's off to a flyer. That was written down with.
I'm still
I don't
typing.
know.
You're still typing. I expect a French pronunciation now we know your background in the language, Katie. Okay.
Oh yeah, just that.
Ready? Number 2.
Hang on.
He's googling. What?
Not googling. Look.
Ready?
I've finished.
You finished. Okay. Question 2. Sachertorte or Sachertorte is a chocolate cake that originates from which country?
Could you please give the spelling?
Oh, we love the spelling.
Absolutely. It'll be my pleasure. Sachetorte. Sachertorte or Sachertorte is a chocolate cake that originates from which country? I'm not sure who's got more to lose in this particular quiz. The aspiring baker with
Not
a
me,
new
because I
business,
don't do the pastry.
or a chef with nearly 15 years' experience. I'm not sure. Right. Question 3. Now this one, I will take whichever one of you is the closest to the actual number. We'll get the point. So to the nearest gram, how much in grams is 10 ounces? To the nearest gram, how much in grams is 10 ounces?
10 ounces.
10 ounces.
I got no idea.
Don't know how many grams there are in an ounce. Should know this. No. No. I have no idea. I'm gonna have 10 ounces. It's quite a lot.
10 ounces is a fair old bit, yeah. Or is it? Who knows? I know.
I should hope so. Going on last week's performance, though, I'm not sure.
No.
Not sure who you do know.
No. Right, question 4. Question 4. Croque-en-bouche. You've come across a croque-en-bouche before?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean in English? What does the phrase or word croque-en-bouche mean in English? Katie's going to smash this one. I promise you, I didn't know she knew French before.
Croque-en-bouche.
I've stitched you up here, Chief.
Hey, fucked me here, haven't you?
Sorry.
I'm just waiting for a service. We work together. I'm going to absolutely do you.
Sorry. Okay, and this is a nice one. And again, I'll take the person who's closest. Can get a point unless they're absolutely correct, in which case they get it out right. How old is Mary Berry?
Ooh.
How old is Mary Berry?
Mary Berry.
Yeah.
No idea.
Mary Berry.
If you say it
The
3 times
Mary
standing in
Berry.
front of a mirror.
The Mary Berry, yeah.
Does she come to you?
She turns up with a lemon sponge and slaps it in your boat, and off she goes.
Mary Berry.
Mary Berry. You keep saying her name like you're not sure who she is, Chief.
I'm just trying to.
Did I go to school with her? Mary Berry. That name rings a bell.
She's quite old, isn't she?
Well, yeah.
Do you want to the nearest century or?
Well, the nearest century would be 1, surely.
I don't know.
Right. Question, what is it? 6? Yes, question 6.
Yes.
How many seasons has there been of the Great British Bake Off?
Are we counting Channel 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Counting, but we're not counting like Christmassy specials and
Okay, like stand up to
just
cancer.
traditional, standard,
Okay.
obscure people plucked from their homes in and around the UK.
I don't watch it.
Bake in front of the nation.
You don't watch it?
I've never seen it.
That's sacrilege.
Shame on you, Paul.
It's not my bag.
It's not your bag. So how many seasons have there been of the Great British Bake Off?
Too many.
Too
I
many.
do watch the
Professional
professionals one because some of the RAF teams there, people I used to work with, so
That's really
see
cool.
how they get on. But don't watch the other one.
No.
I'm not interested in Big Susan from Halifax's sunk Genoese.
Fair enough.
Just don't sit on the fence, Chief. That's what you really think. Question 7. Eccles cake, lovely Eccles cake, originates from which English county? Which English county does the Eccles cake originate from? You've lost this, Chief, haven't you?
I don't know. I'm guessing.
You're guessing.
I'm just guessing. Yeah.
I think it can be one of 2 answers.
Yeah, we'll put them both down.
And I hope I've gone for the right one.
Yeah. Put them both down.
Eccles. Is there a town called Eccles?
I can't give you any more information, I'm afraid, Katie. Sorry. You won't need it. You've already won.
I'm going to go for that one.
Question 8. A ganache is a combination of chocolate and which other primary ingredient? Nice easy one for you there. Ganache, chocolate, and something else. What's the something else? Question 9. This is another closest to the number. On average, how many baguettes are eaten in France every year?
Every year?
Every year. How many baguettes are eaten in France? Looking at the number, it's amazed they get anything else done. So on average, how many baguettes a year are eaten in France?
I know it.
You know it?
Yeah.
You froze briefly.
Did I?
Yeah, I missed a portion of that.
I know it. It's just general.
I'm
not going to tell you.
Oh gosh, a year.
A year.
I don't know it.
I think I could. I have no idea. I'm just gonna. That could be ridiculous.
And the final one. This is one you're definitely going to get, both of you. Which stone fruit is one of the key ingredients to sticky toffee pudding?
Lovely.
It's like it was tailor-made for you, this quiz. So which stone fruit is the key ingredient to sticky toffee pudding? That's number 10. Right, whiz through some answers. Sitting comfortably, Chief?
Mm-hmm.
Not for much longer, mate. Here we go. Right, creme patisserie, when added whipped cream, is called?
Creme diplomat.
Oh, I put creme glaze. I had no idea.
It's creme légère.
Yeah.
Creme
What's
légère.
creme diplomat then?
The creme diplomat is with the butter. The softened butter added into it. I believe. I might be wrong on that, but
Creme légère.
Go and have a look at that one. Because we don't want Florentines again.
No, we don't. Number 2, Sachetort or Sachetort is a chocolate cake that originates from which country?
Germany.
I also said Germany.
Ooh, well, you're both wrong. It's Austria.
Oh, I put Austria. Look, I actually put Austria.
I'm
There's
sorry.
Austria.
Could be a vital mistake, that one.
Oh,
Question 3. To the nearest gram, how many grams is 10 ounces? Paul?
1,500.
1,500. Katie?
to the nearest 10 ounces. I put 2,750.
Oh,
I think we're both.
Paul gets the point here.
What? How many grams are in an ounce?
Well, it's roughly about. The answer's 283.495.
Oh, wow.
So there's about 28
we were
grams
well
in an
off.
ounce.
We did well there.
Paul actually gets the point, being almost 10 times over the limit. So well done, Chief. I believe that makes it 1-0 to you. Well done. Number 5. What was it? Number 4? Can't remember.
Number 4.
Croquembouche. What does it mean in English?
Crunches in the mouth.
Yeah, that's why I put crunch in the mouth.
You're both absolutely correct. Croquembouche is crunch in the mouth. 2-1. Game on. Number 5, is it? Yeah, number 5. How old is Mary Berry? Katie?
63.
63. Paul?
87.
She's 85.
Is she really?
She's 85, yeah.
That is amazing. She looks great.
She looks great. Her birth certificate's actually written in hieroglyphics. She's that old.
I'm doing so well with this.
Stone.
Exactly, yeah. It's on a cave wall in France.
Wow, 85. That is
85.
incredible.
It's an achievement, isn't it? To still be given anywhere at 85, let alone baking and cooking on TV and all the stuff she does. Credit to the woman. I doff my cap to thee. Am I going to give you the point for that, Chief?
Yeah, you did say nearest.
I did say, yes. So that's 3-1. He's sailing away. Look, how many seasons has there been of the Great British Bake Off? Paul?
8.
8. Katie?
10.
The answer's 11.
Oh.
But Katie gets the point for being closer, obviously.
That's fine.
That makes it 3-2. Eccles cake originates from which English county? Paul?
I'm going to regret whichever one I go for. I'm going to say Yorkshire.
Oh, I put Yorkshire. I have no idea though.
No. What was your other choice, Paul?
Lancashire.
Well, the answer is Lancashire.
Oh,
Never mind.
That's like happen. Germany and Austria. It happens to happen to both of us.
I couldn't remember which half it was.
Yeah, never mind. Well, it was the other one. So
yeah.
There you go.
I wish I'd have gone for it now.
This one you both got right, I'm sure. A ganache is a combination of chocolate and
cream.
Double cream. Double cream. Paul, you got that. I won't insult you by getting you to tell me. So that's 4-3. It's tight, isn't it? It's tight. This could settle it. This one could settle it. There's a lot riding on this one. Number 1, on average, how many baguettes a year are eaten in France? Paul, I'll let you go first.
I actually didn't know this. 1 billion.
1 billion.
Yeah, they love a baguette.
Katie, how many have you gone
That's
for?
a lot. I've gone for 1 million.
You've gone for 1 million.
That's like a big difference.
It's a big difference. The bigger difference, in fact, is the correct answer. On average, the French eat 10 billion baguettes every year.
I was going to say 1 million, and I was trying to think how many people actually are in France. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's so true, actually.
So
it's like 100 million people.
They do love a baguette. So
that's very true.
Yes. So that makes it 5-3 to Paul. So Paul cannot lose. Paul cannot
smash
lose.
Yeah.
Number 10. Which stone fruit is the key ingredient to sticky toffee pudding?
Dates.
Dates is indeed. Good game. Good game. Good game. But unfortunately, Katie, you have been beaten.
I've got a lot to learn.
You've been beaten by the chief. Well, only on certain subjects like, how many ounces are in a, how many grams are in an ounce.
I don't use ounces anymore.
The age of certain TV personalities and the variations of creme patisserie. But that's basically about it. Other than that, you're there. Well, good win,
What did
Chief.
you put? What was the first answer?
What's the first answer? Was creme légère.
Oh yeah.
Creme légère, yeah. And crêpe diplomate with butter.
I think if I remember rightly, I might be wrong. You can Google that now as we speak if you
I'm
like.
gonna do it.
Yeah. Do you make vegan alternative like pastry cream or anything like that, Katie? Do you use?
No, I don't really use pastry cream.
No.
At all, no. I
It says that creme diplomat is creme patisserie with cold butter and whipped cream.
Yeah.
Close.
So
Yeah. But it's not creme
you're
de
not going
jour,
to
is
count it because you're
No.
an arsehole. I
No, I'm
didn't
not-
look at creme de jour.
I'm not going to count it because it's wrong. So there you go.
Creme de jour.
He's calling me out on the air. This is
I'm not calling you out on
the
anything.
level of trust here
Creme
is
de jour.
unbelievable. It's like a broken marriage, this, isn't it?
Well, after last week, I knew I was right.
I listened to that last week and I said spinach when I was playing along. And when you said eggs, I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at where it had the cross next to the wrong answer. I was like, well, even that doesn't look right to me. But then
Yeah.
I literally scrolled down just a touch, and
My days of making eggs Florentine every day.
you were never making it, were you? You were making egg.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to me and my stupidity.
You
happy
are
with that,
right.
Chief? I am right.
You are right, yeah.
Thank you.
But I just want to check.
Okay. Well, there's a huge segment there to cut out. You know, the mistrust.
I want it
yeah.
kept in.
You want it kept in?
I want people to know what I'm dealing with.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your honesty. But that's a win, isn't it? It's a win for the Chief. So, in terms of guests coming on, you are a draw and a win.
Yeah, they're never coming back.
They're never coming back. Well, they could come back
Or
to challenge.
maybe they will come back to defend their title.
To
Try and
defend.
win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take the crown.
Take the crown.
Speaking of winning, sorry, that was so cheap. Speaking of winning, it brings us it brings us on to this week's ingredient challenge.
So yes, I accidentally bought 2 kilograms of pistachios, and I need to use them. So this week, I would love for you guys to challenge off against pistachios. I'm going to join in. Hopefully,
you're going to join in.
Wow.
Have you got something in
Yes.
mind? Do you make something with
I have
pistachios?
I do a brownie, a vegan brownie that's got pistachios in, but I'm gonna try and mix it up and make something else if I find the time, which I'm sure I will. So yes.
Well, I look forward to seeing that, Chief. Anything come to mind straight away?
No.
No.
Keep
it that way.
Work.
Keep it that
take
way.
a little bit of work.
What about you? Have you got anything else? Have you got anything in mind?
Well, a couple of ideas, yeah, but these are things that I think Paul's seen before because I would have used them in this way when we worked together. So I'll try and think of something different, or I might play it just really classically and just hope to nail the cook on something very familiar. Have you been keeping up with the ingredient challenges so far, have you, Katie?
Yeah.
The reason I like to talk about this segment is because I'm winning. So
Yeah, I was gonna do the coffee one, but then I just ran out of time.
Not bother.
Did not bother.
I'm just going to let you do them.
He's going to let me do them.
Yeah, I might just not bother.
That's not the spirit.
I don't know what I can do to win people over here.
Well, I don't know. Cook something more appealing? I don't know. Might help.
What a cock.
Well, sorry. So yeah, that's the ingredient challenge. That's pistachios. If you could send me some pistachios, Katie, that'd be nice.
I mean, I have 2 kilograms.
You got 2 kilos.
Yeah.
Oh, are you baking tomorrow?
Yeah. Yes, it's Monday tomorrow. Yes, I am baking.
Can I? I've got to come into Exeter tomorrow. Can I swing by and pick up some pistachios?
Yeah, you genuinely can, because I need to get rid of the pistachios. They're just sitting in my kitchen.
That's disgraceful.
I will come and take some off your hands.
Cool, absolutely.
Spot on.
No worries.
I will arrange a time for collection via Instagram messaging, I think. Well, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to leave it there, give it a wrap.
Cool.
Thanks so much, Paul. Always good to see you.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah, Katie, lovely to see you.
Thanks,
and
guys.
Lovely to meet you as well.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Katie.
definitely. No
Good
worries.
luck with everything.
Thank you.
All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye.